Good evening, everyone. My tribe and everyone who supports me. Uh, I will tell you the status of my COVID. Uh, I still have it. My daughter does not. She goes out and do what she has to do. I'm a little bit jealous. I miss the outside. I never thought I would say that, but well, I'm a country girl, so I do miss the outside, the birds, the trees, and all that. So I'm not doing too good. Uh, my taste buds are not there, not really. Uh, and I'm very tired, but I'm expected with my diagnosis and everything, so that's expected. Uh, the fact that I'm not at that point yet of being completely well, it scares me a little bit, but I know I will, and I trust God for that. So, like I said, my daughter, she's like a little energizer bunny, and I'm glad of that. Uh, she has no signs at all, and she did a uh, home COVID test. I will do mine. I probably will wait until next week, maybe. I will speak to her, uh, and I'll decide, and I will also speak to my God. And so now, this is the continuation on enslavement. Still, that's what it's called for our people. Uh, so let me get on with this, and let's see. Be joyful. Okay. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, yes, faithful in prayer. Romans chapter 12, verse 12. Okay, so let's get on with it. There's so much to talk about it and so much research. I don't know if I'll get finished with this talk or not. Uh, I will just see. Let's see, what will we start? Uh, Post uh, proclamation. I believe that is where I was. Let's see. Um, mm, let's see. Okay. Now, after the abolition of slavery in the United States, the lives of formerly enslaved people underwent significant changes, I can imagine, but many challenges remain. Of course. Here's an overview of what happened during the post-slavery period. To be honest, what did they think would happen to my enslaved ancestors, okay? Not doing anything to prepare them. What did the Europeans think would happen? Okay. Emancipation, you probably got a question mark over your head. Uh, Emancipation and restructuring. Emancipation of the 13th Amendment, 1865, officially by abolished slavery in the United States. Formerly enslaved people celebrated their newfound freedom, but they faced numerous ob- obstacles in their quest for equality and economic independence. Little did they know what was coming. Little did they know. Reconstruction era. The period following the Civil War, known as Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, aimed to rebuild the South and integrate formerly enslaved people. No, that's not what the Europeans were doing. South integrated formerly enslaved people into society. During Reconstruction, people of color made significant political, social, and economic gains. Approximately 2,000 people of color held government jobs, and men of color gained the right to vote and hold public office. But our schools, churches, and social institutions flourished, and literacy rates among people of color surged. Challenges and setbacks. Yeah, we were talking about the black codes the last time. Uh, Challenges and setbacks. Black codes. Southern states enacted black codes, laws designed, their laws, not legal laws, designed to restrict the freedom of uh, people of color and ensure their availability as a cheap labor force. These laws granted certain legal rights, is the right, such as the right to marry and own property, but also imposed severe restrictions, of course, such as prohibiting people of color from serving. There's always a catch, all right? From serving on juries or testifying against Europeans. Of course, uh, it's like a dog, your pet dog. Okay. Um, you have them in the house, which when you and your family decide to sit down and eat, and you have this big turkey leg and turkey in the middle of the table, and your pet dog is looking at the turkey, and you know he's wanting it, but You don't give it to them. But somebody around the table gives them the scraps. You know, little pieces of turkey and the bone that they don't eat and everything. And see, that's how the Europeans did then, back then, and segregation, and now the present. They only give you a teeny bit. They keep our people quiet or calm and not to do anything to for us to get what we were denied so many years. And now they give us scraps. So wake up, my people, okay? Uh, Economic hardships. Many formerly enslaved people lived in desperate rural poverty, denied education, yeah, and wages under slavery. They often had to rent land from former slave owners as sharecroppers, paying rent with a portion of their crops. I remember something like that when I was little. I don't know, I was like 2 or 3, and yeah, my daddy did that for a little while until uh, he started his janitorial service. Okay, efforts to provide land to former slaves were largely unsuccessful, and federal troops restored seized land to white landowners, restored it. You see, there we were promised by my ancestor was promised by Abraham Lincoln 40 acres and a mule. But you see what this says? Efforts to provide land to former slaves were largely unsuccessful, and federal troops restored, listen to this, seized land and gave it to the European landholders. See this right here. So uh, that is proof. And the people know, especially the Europeans, they know that they owe us which was ours in the first place. We built this country, and the Europeans don't realize that. They probably know it, but is afraid. Okay, uh, and because our people are given scraps, little here and little there, some of them don't say anything. They just let it go. Probably the older ones, okay? But we need to wake up, our people. Wake up. We are still enslaved in our so-called country, okay? Violence and discrimination. After this one, I'm going to close this part and open up the rest. And I don't know, I'll get the rest done, probably part of it. Violence and discrimination, the end of Reconstruction saw the rise of European supremacist groups and implementation of Jim Crow laws, uh, which is not the same as a black coat, which is different. And I'll tell you later. Jim Crow laws, which, here it is, enforce racial segregation and disenfranchisement of people of color. Violence, including lynchings and other forms of racial terror, was used to maintain European supremacy and control over our ancestors. Okay? Uh, I'm going to stop there and close this one out. And the next part will be community and resilience. So I'm going to close this out now and I'll do this part so you all can get to know me a little bit better. But in the future, uh, I will set up some things like greeting me and stuff like that different places. So let's see. I like this one. Okay. And here's the question. Okay. If you could have any historical figure as a dinner guest, who would it be and why? Jesus. That's who would be. I would ask him a whole bunch of questions, man. His head would be hurt because there's a lot I want to know. So if he was there, Jesus, I would ask him a bunch of questions. So, Jesus, thank you everybody for supporting me and sharing and subscribing. Thank you. And namaste.